This is your weekly zodiac for your weekly reading for Aquarius for the week of, let's see, God, it's July 26th. I can't even believe we've gotten this far into August. I was looking at Aquarius and was going to say, we're looking at Aquarius, and I was thinking August. I don't know about you, but the last 2 days have been pretty heavy emotional energy, lots and lots of waves of emotions. Hopefully you guys are hanging in there. Let's take a look and see what's going on for you guys, starting with I got my cards back. I had to wait for them to come. So now let's get back to this. I was playing with and hesitating to do readings because I had a new deck. I didn't trust myself with it, so I waited for my replacement ones to come in. Here we go. Seven of Cups, Judgment, and the Lovers, Page of Wands. So, Judgment card, look at this, three-headed dragon. So there's tension that's going on around you. It feels as if there's a lot of conflict. I would have to say this energy is kind of perpetuated throughout this last weekend. So conflicts coming up. You're seeing a little bit overwhelm going on with all these different things that you have in front of you. So if you look here at the Seven of Cups, each one of these cups has a different representation on them of things we're influenced by, right? So it tells us that these influencers are coming from all different directions. And I'm seeing tension here with it. We have the Lovers card, which is dichotomy. Now, here's the thing about dichotomy and duality. It gives us an example of which to measure ourselves by. So we have the Lovers card in the center. Now, the Lovers card, yes, it talks about two people coming together, but there's so much more to it than that. The Lovers card is about that duality, right? Whether we're coming together in a beautiful way or whether there's conflict. Oftentimes, especially in this Dragon Tarot, this card shows us two individuals that really don't look like they're having a good time. It looks more like a clash to me than a lover's embrace. And it has the yin yang, right? Which is all about balance. So this is talking to us about overwhelming conflict and finding our balance with an external force. We have the Page of Wands and the Three of Cups. So this is like, even though it's tense, good things will come out of it. Not every problem has to be, struck with a hammer kind of thing. Page of Wands is something where you might also be learning a new trade, new task, taking a class, or maybe going through some training. If you're in an employment situation and you've got a new job and you're going through orientation, it would be something like that. Let's say you wanted to learn a tarot class, learn how to do tarot, you take a small online class, or if you have some upgrades or online learning. So that's not like going back to school completely. But I'm also seeing a lot of cups for you. Cups is love and enjoyment. You've got the High Priestess. Now, the High Priestess is going to show itself a lot in the next little bit. I wouldn't be surprised because we have these overwhelming waves of emotion and these aspects that are causing us to go deeper. And as we do that, we're processing all these emotions, so that can fluctuate throughout the hours of the day. I'm seeing Nine of Cups, High Priestess, and the Nine of Swords, which means that you're kind of moving behind closed doors thing, or you're keeping things close to the chest. And what I mean by that, it's like I'm not able to talk about some of the things that are going on in my brain, or I'm not able to share with you, or you're just not telling people what your moves are. I do see the Hierophant. So there's this rule that you have, this game that you have going on in your head about how do I do it right? What's the right thing to do? And sometimes this can even mean higher education. So you're doing something now in the meantime. I will also say that this card indicates here, the Three of Wands, that you have this feeling of being watched. Either that or there's gossip going on. If you look, there's some flames in the bottom of this card, and they reference the people that are watching you or commenting. This would be somebody going, do you believe what she did? Look what she said. You know what I mean? Things like that, or listen to what she said. So the Three of Wands is that pressure. It's almost like going into a job interview or having to meet with your supervisor. Feeling naked. So are you feeling exposed? So you're just kind of keeping things close to the chest. I do see the Sun card. We have the Hierophant, the Sun, the Fool, the High Priestess, and the Lovers. Also Justice. Justice? No, Judgment. That's a lot of heavy energy, right? Majors are like the volcano. They're the erupting things that happen in our outside world that reflect on our inner. And so when we have these moments, it's almost as if there's this big powerful shift, okay? Different than just a gradual season of something. So you may be finding that you're going to be slipping into a little bit more joy coming in, indicated by the Nine of Cups. So whatever this conflict was about is moving things out of the way for you, because we have the Sun card as well. I would also like to say that you might be receiving more money and getting some opportunities for finance coming your way, indicated by the King of Coins. I would like to say also that with the Fool card in play, you always have to remember this is like, regardless of whether, I'm going to use this analogy, so regardless of whether you find Oz or you find that Oz is just a man behind the curtain, it's about that journey. The Fool is never about, you know, being dumb. It's about the journey. That's why tarot is literally dubbed the Fool's Journey. It's the story of what we're doing. So the Fool card tells me that you're at a crossroads. Think of the scarecrow in front of Dorothy when she comes to his cornfield. What is he going to do? So what are you going to do, Aquarius? This is your next step. So potential in front of you. This is opportunity, and all of this that's been going on with you is designed to help you think clearer about what it is that you want. So celebrate a little bit. There's 2 separate cards for celebration, or whatever that looks like for you. For some of us, it's a weekend at the lake. For others, it's karaoke, right? Or a date night. Celebration. So what is it that you're celebrating? Because that's coming in. Summertime. Leo, joy, the sun, having all these things in play that we can use, enjoy, talk about. All right, let's pull some cards from Mystic Dreamer and take a look at your moon reading, Aquarius moon. It's so nice to be back to my rhythms, how I'm used to doing it. Aquarius moon. Book your one-on-one, karmaondeck.com. The Tarot 101 class, another cycle is coming up in another couple weeks. If you're interested in that, let me know. Also coaching, spiritual mentorship. I'll teach you meditation, a little tarot. Teach you how to keep up with astrology so you can understand some terms. A little Reiki. Here we go. This is your Aquarius moon reading. Ooh. So kind of an indicator about what the first spread was about. We have this 8 of Cups. This is a definite sign that you're willing to walk away from anything that's not serving you, right? So initially, you know, when we have these awakenings or we want, I'm tired of using words that are catchphrases. It's an absolute pet peeve of mine because they lose their influence, I think, in some way by shortcutting its meaning. So when we say we have ascension, or if we have, you know, matrix, different words that we use, but I hate to utilize them because I like to be understood, but the 8 of Cups is telling us that you're in this position where you're thinking that there are some things that you need to abandon because they're not serving you. And it hurts, right? 5 of Pentacles. 5 of Pentacles is a lack of faith, lack of hope. So when we get in these moments, we're like, this isn't going to work out. I just know the outcome is going to be the same if I continue in this vein. If this thread keeps going the way it is, I can see where it's going. And so you're starting to learn these patterns, and it hits in the heart a little bit. You have the Queen of Cups telling us that we're a little bit emotional about some of that. So we have the Queen of Cups and this a little bit of depression, like we feel lonely without our friends, but then the drama isn't worth it. And we try to excuse ourselves or apologize for or explain, but then that sometimes create a bigger problem than what we had initially started with. So there's this moment of like, how do I walk away with grace? How do I walk away or let it go without it coming back and biting me, right? And then we have the Page of Wands and the Page of Swords. Now remember, when I teach my tarot class, we talk about pages, knights, queens, and kings being affective personality. So Page of Wands and Page of Swords are starting over. So what is it you're starting over? And also, and I got news for you, I'm 51. We don't ever stop starting over in one way or another. Get used to it. Get comfortable with change. We get so committed to the commitment that we don't make these changes. It's what I said I would do. But sometimes we get into something we didn't sign up for or wasn't fully disclosed, which is our own fault for not vetting the situation. But then we have to have the acuity to just make a statement like, this isn't working. And I think that's what's going on with you, is you have this idea of, how do I articulate these feelings by having respect for everyone involved? And there's the 2 of Cups, which is balance, right? 4 of Swords. I'd be willing to bet that you've got, look at this. I wish you guys, if you guys on Instagram can get to my YouTube, you can see them picture in picture, because they are kind of pertinent in order. I don't want to pick these up yet, but we have the 2 of Cups, the 4 of Swords, and the Justice card with the King of Wands. If you think of the King of Wands as an action, right? Kings being active, queens being receptive, or also just dealing with things, men and women, male, female kind of energy, doing different things. We have the 2 of Cups, which is balance, which is your desire. Then you have the 4 of Swords, which is silence. It's, think of Snow White. She's off in the woods and she ran off, right, so to speak, had her little apple and her little adventure, and she's waiting for the prince. So what conditions have to be met in order for her to have that spell broken or in order for her to speak. If you remember correctly, it took the right prince at the right time, etc. So the Four of Swords to me is always, it's got 3 swords down and 1 sword's up. And it talks about one thing being out of whack. So what is it that you're waiting for? Is it a perfect opportunity? Is it for things to quiet down? Because, you know, as soon as things quiet down, then you feel like you start them up all over. There is no perfect time. But we have the Justice card, which means you have to come from a sense of judgment and actually work toward it and be active, because that's what this king is about, right? So yes, kings and queens can be our indicator of male and female or different energies in our relationships, you know, our bosses and our children and our spouses. But the King of Wands means action. It's taking action and justice here. So let's see where the rest is going. This has a death card change. Don't trip out. The death card is not bad. Death card means like a baptism. So dunk it in the holy water and let it go, right? The thing is here that you're so overwhelmed about the outcome. It's like the how rather than the why. The why is because this is something that you need to shake up a little bit to see what's in the bottom, right? Like when I do my coaching sessions, I tell people to practice saying no all the time, like for a day or two at least. You can renegotiate your yes, but just to see how the world behaves when you say no, who manipulates and who negotiates. But I see the Page of Cups and the Eight of Swords. You're very overwhelmed with how this next phase is going to go, and you're overwhelmed with you know, the consequences that might come. But the ultimate goal that you have here is temperance, which is balance. You want things to return to a modicum of balance, and you want things to be smooth, right? You coming from love. You have the Two of Cups, and you also have the Two of Swords, which is indecision. Now, my favorite thing to say about the Two of Swords is indecision is a decision. So when you don't make a decision, remember one of them can expire, like person will move away, or let's use a job opportunity. Let's not use relationship right now because this is really entangled. But if you look at the Two of Swords, let's say you have 2 job offers, or you're at a job and you have another one to take, and they hired someone else because you didn't answer, or you hesitated too long. You're always going to wonder if that was the one thing that could have changed your life. So don't be a victim to analysis paralysis. Make a decision. You're only coming from overwhelm here. Let's see if there's anything else that I missed. But with the Seven of Pentacles next to the Death card, this is high time for change. See here, they're in order. The Seven of Pentacles is what are you gathering? Your harvest. The Death card is change. And then you have the Two of Swords. So you're not sure how to proceed. Meditation is key. What does your voice have to say? Okay, let me pull a card from Divination of the Ancients and see what your week message is for my Oracle deck. Thank you for hanging out with me. I would love your company on my YouTube. If you would subscribe and share, I would love it. That's my favorite platform for doing these videos, and you can see all your videos in a playlist. All right, Divination of the Ancients for you. You know, I was shuffling this deck this morning before I started the readings, and I wanted to pull this card out of the deck, and I thought it scares people. And I thought, oh, just because you're thinking of it, it'll probably show up. So your card here, and I don't use a Ouija board, but if I did, you know, it's a Ouija board card. So this card indicates that you should use caution. Okay, so this isn't encouraging you to use a Ouija board. Okay, so this card comes up and it tells you that as you move forward to use caution. Now, everything in your cards was saying that you have this big decision to make and that you're emotional about it, but nothing was telling me the Tower card was in play, meaning that things are going to get upended. Again, Wizard of Oz, no house is going to land on top of you. But the Ouija board is one that tells us that even though we're looking for information, so example, like you're looking for information on somebody and you go looking on their internet and you go looking on their Facebook or their Instagram and see who they like and what they're doing. So this is just saying be cautious with the information that's coming your way. Be cautious of where you gather your advice and information, and be cautious on how you move forward. I want to thank you guys for